Good morning, Arsenal fans, gooners around the world, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all well today. Yes, this is Arsenal News24 coming back at you with the latest news articles of the day regarding our great club, Arsenal Football Club, better known as the Gunners. So I've been going through some of these articles this morning. We're going to be going through the best ones that I found today together. So let's get into it. Football 365 reports Arsenal surprise striker twist involving Chelsea star revealed as Romano drops significant update. Interesting. Yes, I can see Mikel Arteta's facial expression there. That was the same expression I just had when I saw we could be in for another Chelsea player. According to reports, Arsenal have added a Chelsea star to their summer shortlist, while Fabrizio Romano has dropped an update on their transfer business. Interesting stuff. Arsenal need to make a statement during the summer transfer window as they fell below expectations during the previous campaign, finishing second in the Premier League and failing to win any major silverware. The Gunners are yet to officially make a signing, but reports have indicated that they have closed deals for Martin Zubimendi, Kepa Arrizabalaga and Christian Norgard. The North London outfit are also looking to complete a deal for a new centre-back, but their priority remains a new striker, and they are linked with several potential options. Mikel Arteta's side were pushing for not signing a striker. Mikel Arteta's side were punished for not signing a striker last season, as injuries to Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz left the Premier League giants severely short in attack. Well, we could have actually signed someone in January, but it was the board and the owners who decided not to pursue any deals. Mikel Arteta made it abundantly clear during his press conference that he did in fact want to strengthen in the attack in January. So people that always want to hold Arteta accountable as if everything is his fault, consider that. Back to the article. Arsenal were linked with Benjamin Sesko and Ollie Watkins last season as they missed out on a forward in January and last summer. They remain options, while Victor Gyökeres has also emerged as a leading target. But a report from journalist Duncan Castle for Football Transfers claims Arsenal have added Chelsea star Nicolas Jackson to their shortlist. Okay, so let's just stop there for a second. How do you go from Victor Gyökeres, Benjamin Sesko, Ollie Watkins to Nicolas Jackson? Chelsea fans themselves will tell you he's not clinical enough in front of goal. So why do we think he's going to be good enough to take us from second place to first place? So I'm already skeptical about this. I don't think this is what we need to take us to the next level. But anyway, let's continue with the article. Jackson was Chelsea's first choice striker last season, but he's not untouchable following the arrival of Liam Delap from Ipswich Town. Regarding Arsenal's stance on Jackson, Castle explains, "There's one more name that I've become aware of this week, which may come as a surprise, which is Nicolas Jackson, the striker who's had an interesting time in his 2 years at Chelsea." Interesting time? Is that just like a play on words? Or because for the love of me, I can't see anything interesting about Nicolas Jackson. Anyway, Castle goes on to say, Chelsea have always been looking for either adding someone else in that position or replacing him totally. Wow, that says it all. Chelsea say they're not actively looking to sell Jackson in this window, but he's not one of the untouchable figures within their squad. Castle adds, the guidance I have on where Arsenal are on this is that this broad range of options is deliberate. They want to ensure that they get a centre forward for Arteta in this window and don't feel like they did last summer. They will do one of these deals. They're telling the representatives of the players involved that it will come down to does the deal, or do they believe the deal makes the best sense to the club? Well, in that case, let's just write off Nicolas Jackson from the beginning, because he is definitely not what we need. He's not a proven goal scorer. And if Chelsea want to offload him, then that's a clear sign that he's not Arsenal proven quality, which is what we need now. And he's not that young. It's not like he's an up-and-coming young star. So what do you guys have to say about this? Do we want another Chelsea has-been? This is what it's boiling down to. Victor Gyökeres, £68 million release clause. Well, that's how much Sporting want for him. Pay them the money. Get it done. Benjamin Sesko. They're saying that he is the world's next greatest striker at only 22 years old. Pay them the money. Let's get him on board. What is the hold-up? Now we've been linked to Nicolas Jackson. You know what? I take my hat off to you Arsenal fans. That is very frustrating, being an Arsenal fan. We are in a much better position than we were during the last 5 or 10 years of Arsene Wenger. We're in a much better position than we were under Emery. And finishing second for the past 3 seasons has left us with a glimmer of hope that things are now turning around at the club. But still, I take my hat off to you Arsenal fans. We are the most loyal bunch of fans in the world. Anyway, let's get back to the articles. Arsenal news reports. Arsenal handed huge Sesko boost as RB Leipzig slash asking price to €70 million. Wow, that's great. Excuse me. Arsenal's pursuit of RB Leipzig striker Benjamin Sesko has received a boost, with the Bundesliga club reportedly softening their stance on the transfer fee. Sesko, who scored 21 goals in 45 appearances last season, is open to leaving Leipzig this summer, and Arsenal have long identified him as a priority target to strengthen the forward line. Although the 22-year-old has a contract running until 2029, Leipzig are now said to be willing to consider offers around €70 million, a notable reduction from the earlier €80 to €100 million valuation that previously stalled the negotiations. That revised figure could reignite Arsenal's efforts, especially as Mikel Arteta continues to push for the addition of a clinical centre forward to build on back-to-back second-place finishes in the Premier League. Definitely a much better option than Nicolas Jackson. I don't need to do research on Jackson, but I've done my research on Benjamin Sesko. At 6'5", Arsenal known as a club for relying heavily on set pieces. I think he would fit in quite well there. Not to mention he's got fantastic ball control for someone of his size. And he is extremely fast. So on the break, on the counter-attack, he'll definitely give Premier League teams nightmares. Transfer expert Fabrizio Romano recently highlighted that Sesko has begun following Arsenal on Instagram, while a separate post from his North London-based barber on holiday in Mykonos hinted at a potential move to the capital. Lovely stuff. So we all know when we're sitting in that chair getting a haircut or having our beards trimmed, we usually tend to disclose certain information, much like friends disclose information at the pub after one or two rounds. Anyway, back to the article. Though such online clues are often speculative, the narrative is being fueled by growing belief that Sesko is leaning towards the Emirates Stadium. The Slovenian international is also reportedly admired by Manchester City and Real Madrid, but Arsenal appear to have taken the lead thanks to their project and long-standing interest. His agent, Elvis Basanovic, has stated publicly that his client will only move for the right project and praised Leipzig for their handling of the situation, making it clear they intend to conduct business respectfully and professionally. Now, I hope the sporting president is listening to that. Gentlemen's agreements should never be overlooked, sport in Lisbon. So, yeah, I hope you're taking notes. With respect to Leipzig, we won't force or manipulate a move, Basanovic told reporters, adding that any transfer will only happen if the club's valuation is met. Despite the recent lull in activity, Arsenal have remained focused on Sesko over other options like Victor Gyökeres, who has had a more turbulent relationship with Sporting Lisbon's board. With pre-season approaching, the Gunners are eager to finalise key incomings, and the growing likelihood of Leipzig accepting a lower fee may prompt movement in the coming days. Sesko's profile, age and Bundesliga experience fit Arsenal's long-term ambitions, and if the numbers align, he could become the marquee signing to lead the line for Arsenal next season. Fantastic. Well, let's hope that's all true. So yeah, I would definitely take Benjamin Sesko over Jackson any day, any time of the day, any place. Now let's see. Football Fancast. A way better signing than Eze. Arsenal prepare offer for £68 million superstar. Arsenal have suddenly sprung to life in the last few days. For much of the last few weeks, fans were beginning to worry that Mikel Arteta's side were being left behind by their Premier League rivals like Liverpool and Manchester City, who have been incredibly busy in the transfer window thus far. However, seemingly out of nowhere, the North Londoners have appeared to have wrapped up deals for Christian Norgard, Kepa Arrizabalaga, and now it looks like they are making progress on a deal to sign Christian Mosquera, the centre-back from Spain, and an under-21 international for the Spanish national team. I see the journalist also forgot to add, we have wrapped up deals for Martin Zubimendi. But in any case, let's move on. On top of that, the Gunners are now being linked with Crystal Palace's incredible Rodrygo Vs Eze, although there is another international touted for a move to the Emirates this summer, someone who'd be a better signing than the Englishman. Arsenal target international talent. Considering Arsenal scored 17 goals fewer than the eventual Premier League champions Liverpool this season, it's no surprise that most of their rumoured targets this summer are attacking players, with a real focus on left wingers such as Nico Williams and Eze. And as we know, for those who follow this channel, we are also going after Rodrygo Vs Eze of Real Madrid, Rafael Leao of AC Milan. So we are definitely trying to strengthen with proven quality. Also, let's just highlight on the fact here, I know most people don't like to listen to it. We did score 17 goals less than Liverpool, but we also conceded fewer goals than Liverpool. We did have the best defense in the league, And we also had notable injuries to Bukayo Saka, who was out for many, many months. Same can be said for Martin Odegaard. And we also lost our key defender, Gabriel Magalhaes, in the run-in to the end of the season. Not making any excuses. I'm just saying it as it is. If we didn't have injuries to Martin Odegaard and Bukayo Saka, we could have had a much better run at things. I'm not saying we would have won the league. Don't get me wrong. Liverpool's a fantastic side. But definitely luck was not in our favour last season. In the first 6 games of the season, we received, I think it was 3 or 4 red cards, many of which were very questionable. In those games, we also failed to pick up points. 3 points. So, I think Liverpool were fairly lucky this season. Imagine if Mohamed Salah was injured for 4 months like Bukayo Saka. I think things would have been much different. All right, let's get back to the article here. Regarding Nico Williams and Eze, the former looked like it could be the answer to the Gunners' problems in that area of the pitch, but as things stand today, he looks more likely to move to Barcelona than England. That is Nico Williams. Eze, on the other hand, does feel like a realistic target, as he's proven himself in the Premier League for 2 years now, and he has a release clause worth around £68 million, which would make signing him relatively straightforward. Now, Eze has a release clause of £68 million, a left winger, while at the same time Victor Gyökeres's camp at Sporting are demanding 68.1 million. So which is more important? Signing a striker, a proven striker that scored 97 goals in 102 games for the same price as Eze. Now, keep in mind, we already have 2 left wingers. They might have had poor seasons last season, but we've already got cover in the left wing. So why are we prioritizing Eze, who is a left wing, over a striker, which we need? We needed a striker months ago. We were quite fine in left wing. Yet, if Arteta and co really want to take the team to the next level this summer and bring in someone who'd represent a real signal of intent, they might be better off signing Rodrygo. The good news is that they might have the same idea, as according to recent report from Spain, Arsenal have maintained their intense interest in the Real Madrid superstar. Fantastic. In fact, the report goes a step further, claiming that the Gunners are now preparing to make an offer of around 80 million euros for the Brazilian international, which translates to around 68 million pounds. Interestingly, the club want to stagger the payments into 3 installments, with the first being around 50 million euros and the next 2 being 15 million euros each, which is something they might not be able to do with the Palace star due to his release clause. Well, I can tell you one thing. I'll take Rodrygo over Eze any day. I am quite familiar with Eze. Fantastic player, in my opinion. But we need someone that is an out-and-out left winger. Eze is more versatile, can play in the center attacking mid position, can play on the right, and he can play on the left. We need someone that's specialized on the left. And Rodrygo, based on his numbers, he is just that. Let's continue with the article. Why Rodrygo would be a better signing than Eze? Alright, let me have a sip of my coffee here. Nothing better in the morning than going through some Arsenal news with a nice cup of coffee. Why Rodrygo would be a better signing than Eze? Okay. The first thing to say is that both players are incredibly talented footballers and would therefore make excellent additions to the Arsenal squad. Can't argue there. After all, their raw output from this season isn't all that far apart, as the Palace star scored 14 goals and provided 11 assists in 43 games, totaling 3,303 minutes on the pitch, while the real monster Rodrygo produced the same goal involvements in 3,448 minutes across 53 games. However, the first real argument for the latter being the superior player emerges when we take a look under the hood and compare the underlying numbers. So Rodrygo vs Eze, statistically, for Rodrygo, non-penalty goals and assists, 0.51, Eze 0.52. Progressive passes per match, Rodrygo 5, Eze 3. Progressive passes received, Rodrygo 11, Eze 5. Progressive carries, Rodrygo 5, Eze 2. Shots on goal, Rodrygo 2.5, Eze 3.5. Okay, but we have to consider that Rodrygo was playing out of his favorite position. Goals per shot for Rodrygo 0.11, Eze 0.07. Shots on target per match 0.93 for Rodrygo, Eze 0.94. Goals per shot on target, Rodrygo 0.3, Eze 0.26. Expected assists for Rodrygo 0.2, for Eze 0.1. Key passes, Rodrygo 2.29, Eze 2.01. Passes into the final third, which is key for Arsenal, especially if we get a top striker. For Rodrygo, key passes into the final third, 3.08, and for Eze, 1.70. Shot creating actions per match, Rodrygo 4.95, Eze 4.69. So it's very close. Goal creating actions for Rodrygo 0.4, Eze 0.3. Carries into the penalty area, Rodrygo 2.34, Eze 0.76. Carries into the final third of the pitch, Rodrygo 4, Eze 1. So we can see here that Rodrygo definitely has the upper hand. For example, even though the former QPR star comes out on top in some metrics like shots and shots on target per 90, he does far worse in the vast majority of relevant statistics. In fact, not only does the former Santos gem do better in most attacking areas, like progressive and key passes, but also in some of the defensive metrics as well, like interceptions and clearances. That's fantastic. I'm sold. I am sold on that. Alright, so that is the football fancast on Eberechi Eze and Rodrygo. Let's move on to the next article from TBR. Here we can see our star player Bukayo Saka. What a legend. In my opinion, the best right wing in the Premier League. Well, obviously, Mohamed Salah is maybe a step ahead of him at this stage, but Salah is vastly more experienced. I think Saka is a way better all-round football player, especially tracking back when Arsenal are not in possession of the ball. Let's see what TBR says. Bukayo Saka has privately encouraged rival Premier League star to leave his club and join Arsenal. Bukayo Saka is Arsenal's best player on the pitch, and he could now be playing a big role of it. The Gunners are working hard on new transfers behind the scenes, and they have been linked with several players over the last few months. Andrea Berta. Sorry, I seem to have lost my place here like a retard. Here we go. Andrea Berta is in charge of getting those deals over the line, and Mikel Arteta is usually the one who speaks to the players to convince them to join. But Saka may have provided an assist to his manager now. You go, Saka. Bukayo Saka has encouraged Rodrygo Vs Eze to join Arsenal. Rodrygo Vs Eze has emerged as a top target for the Gunners. The England international is expected to be on the move this summer after a few incredible seasons at Crystal Palace. He is due for a big transfer. TBR Football confirmed that Arsenal have inquired about signing Eze and view him as a potential option for their left wing role. Football Transfers now claim that the Gunners are considering tabling a bid to sign the Crystal Palace star in the coming days. Tottenham are also interested in signing Eze, but the Gunners may have an advantage. Not may have an advantage, definitely have an advantage. Why would someone want to join Spurs, all due respect, when you can come to Arsenal? The report claims that the player's relationship with Arsenal star Bukayo Saka could be an influential factor in a potential deal. Furthermore, it has been revealed that the Gunners' number 7 has privately encouraged Eze to make the move to the Emirates Stadium. And here we can see both of these star players representing their countries, and they do look like, well, you know, this is also a key thing to consider. You know, people tend to overlook this. Like, if you're bringing in players, most likely they will settle in much faster if they are already friends with players in the team. So Rodrygo coming into the team, he's also got a few players there that he knows, Martinelli and Gabriel, our star centre-back. So I think in both cases, it's going to be a good fit, like a glove, and they're going to take to the team and the tactics of the team like a duck to water. Let's continue with the article. Arsenal fans, Rodrygo dream could be over. Arsenal supporters had been dreaming of signing Rodrygo from Real Madrid. The Brazil star is no longer a regular starter for the Galacticos under their new boss, Xabi Alonso, and there has been a lot of speculation around his future. Arsenal have been linked with a move to sign Rodrygo, but the report now claims that the Gunners have cooled their interest in the Real Madrid star. It has further been claimed that Arsenal will no longer engage in talks with the players' representatives unless contacted directly and made aware that a deal is indeed possible. That is the reason why Rodrygo Vs Eze has emerged as a key option for the Gunners. And here we can see we have our star boy Bukayo Saka whispering in Eze's ear, "Come to the Gunners. We need you." Alright, let's see what our last bit of news is for the day. The Express UK reports Arsenal target Benjamin Sesko's asking price changes as transfer U-turn made. Arsenal have been heavily linked with both Benjamin Sesko and Victor Gyökeres. Arsenal's pursuit of Benjamin Sesko has received a boost as RB Leipzig reportedly lowered their asking price. The Gunners have yet to secure centre forward in the summer transfer window, but Sesko remains their primary target. Mikel Arteta recognises the need for a top-tier striker to enhance their attack following a third consecutive second-place finish in the Barclays Premier League. Sporting director Andrea Berta, Top G, is responsible for securing one. Why can't we just get both? Why do we only need one? Sesko, 22 years old. Victor Gyökeres, he is 27. Why don't we get both? Let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and please, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to share and like the video. Subscribe if you want to keep updates, or if you want to get notified on future updates. Anyway, back to the article. However, there has been a lull in activity recently, much due to the frustration of some fans who are eager for a striker to be signed. Yet it appears that Arsenal's patience may pay off, with Bild reporting that Leipzig are softening their previous stance on the player. It was initially believed that the German team were demanding a fee ranging from 68 to 85 million pounds for Sesko. This deterred the Premier League side, who responded by considering other options. But now it seems a U-turn has been made, and that a fee of 59.7, call it 60 million pounds, could suffice for the 22-year-old, who is contracted with Leipzig until June 2029 and netted 21 goals in 45 matches. Arsenal have been eyeing Sesko for quite some time, favouring his youth and Bundesliga experience over Victor Gyökeres. The Gunners are keen on signing him. Sesko's agent Elvis Basnovic is determined to handle negotiations with Leipzig honourably. This is far from the truth, Basnovic replied when asked about rumours that he had been pushing Leipzig for a lower fee. Okay, so it was the club and not RB Leipzig's. It was Benjamin Sesko's agent that's now come out and said that he was not pushing for a lower fee. It was all up to RB Leipzig. The agent says, "We respect Leipzig, and I'm 100% convinced Leipzig will also respect our decision for the next step when we decide to take it. Even if there may be or will be a strong desire of the player to move to a certain club, we will never force or blackmail Leipzig." So there we have some positive news for the day. Benjamin Sesko's asking price has been dropped. Bukayo Saka whispering in the ear of Rodrygo Vs Eze to join the Gunners. And there's still some hope for a signing of Rodrygo. I believe that is the top news articles of the day so far. If there is anything later on in the day, I'll be sure to publish it. But I've got my eye on things 24/7. So whenever you see a notification, you know that it's worth your while. Anyway, fellow Gooners, I hope you have a fantastic Saturday. God bless you all. Let's keep our fingers crossed. And let's not forget, I've heard a lot of stories these days from Chelsea fans, Man United fans, Tottenham fans. They had a better season than us because they won trophies. Well, my argument to them is always the same. Why would you even bring that into the debate about who had the better season when Arsenal were not even permitted to play in those cup competitions because we are on another level? We play Champions League, and you need to be at a certain level to play in that. I'm pretty much 100% sure if we were in the Europa League, we would have won that. We would have definitely won the Conference League. So I think football fans need to also take things into consideration. Yes, winning trophies is important. But that doesn't mean that because you didn't win a trophy, another team is automatically better than you. We did get our asses handed to us in the FA Cup though by Newcastle. But at the end of the day, Newcastle is a team that can take on anyone in the world any day. They're that good. On the day they can beat anyone. So it's no insult to us, Arsenal fans. But anyway, I'll be back tomorrow with some more news for you guys. Much love and respect, and God bless the Arsenal. Cheers.